What's going on? Friday night, and I am enjoying a Breckenridge double hopped IPA. First time I ever had it, and well, what's left of it. Actually, I split it with Misty because it's 9.2%, and that's like, ugh. So I had to split that one with Misty for right now. But I have got several projects going on yet again, and yet again are all brew related. So just want to share that with you. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I brew right here in my little area of my basement. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, especially the one about no more lifting heavy fermenters, you know that my back is not the best back in the world. And so I rigged up a pulley system over my chest freezer to take the carboys and fermenter buckets in and out, um, to help me set them in and out because of my back. So I don't use it all the time, which I should, because my back, when it hurts, I really should use it. But sometimes if my back's feeling good, I'll take a chance and go ahead and lift them in and out. But I really should use that pulley system every time to save my back. But anyway, uh, when I brew beer, what I've been doing is this is how I have my stuff set up. And like I say, if you see my videos, you know this. That's where I do my mash in. I've just got a stool that I sit, and maybe one of these days I'll have a nice little setup like a lot of people have. But for right now, this is what I'm doing. And I have just a stool that I set my uh, mash tuns sitting on, and I do my mash in there, or my dough in, and do my mash there. And when it's done, I will drain it off into the boil kettle. Now, what I used to do was take a bucket, that had markings on the side of it, so I know how many gallons I was doing, and I would set that there, and I would do my first runnings into that bucket and collect my 2 or 3 gallons, for my 6 or 7 gallon boil, depending on what I was doing, and then I would pour whatever went into that bucket from my first runnings. And I'll set that over here so I don't have to go back and forth. I would do my first runnings into that bucket, and then I would use the siphon, or not the siphon, but the tube off the valve there, and run it into here. And then I would do my sparge and do the same thing, sparge into my bucket and then run it off into here. Well, since I've installed Bobby's nice little sight glass, I want to do away with this step. So now I do my mash in, and my first runnings go into the boil kettle, and I know how much I have for my sight glass here, and then I do my sparge, and of course I know how much I have from my boil, which is usually 7 gallons. I'm tempted to go a little less than that, but that's a whole nother story. But right now it's around 7 gallons. So when that 7 gallons gets full, I would take it outside, out the door, and set it on my burner, which I would have set up on 2 cinder blocks and a piece of plywood. And you can see that in my previous videos as well. And it works really good. I mean, there's no problems with it. The only problem is carrying that with 7 gallons of liquid in it out the door and trying to lug it up on that, which is higher than what it is right now. So, that, like I say, if you got a bad back, it's no fun. And I need to not do that. So what I have done is rigged up a little Dolly, and so all I did was take some scrap wood. I had plenty of wood laying around that I've not used, and so basically all I did was take a 3/4 inch piece of plywood that I had and made two 24 inch by 24 inch pieces, two by 2 pieces. As you can see, here's the top part and there's the bottom part. And what I did was take that bottom part, try not to keep this from falling, and I had some 2x6s. I didn't have any 2x4s on hand, so I took some 2x6s, which was overkill, but it's fine. I cut those in 4-inch blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and screwed those in a corner from the underside. and I happened to have some casters laying around that I had scarfed up from somewhere. I don't even remember where I got them, but all I did was drill some holes in the corners and got some fender washers and mounted those casters up in, from the bottom. A little 5/16 inch lock nut on top of another fender washer. And I haven't done it yet, but what I will do is take this other 3/4 inch piece of plywood and screw it down to those blocks. So I have me a nice little dolly there. And my battery's getting ready to die, so I'm going to swap batteries on you. Okay, new batteries, and there you see the dolly. It's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but it's functional. It works, or it should work really well. I measured the height that I would need, and if you'll bear with me here, what I'll end up doing is setting my burner. I'll try to do this while I'm filming. After this is screwed down, after the top is screwed on top of there, the other plywood is screwed down, I can set my burner on top of that. Okay. I'm debating on whether or not to fasten these legs down somehow to the top. I really don't think I need to, but I may. Probably won't. I don't think there's any sense in it. So basically, what'll happen is I'll do my mash in, my dough in, do my 60-minute mash, drain my first runnings into my boil kettle, do my back sparge, however many I do, drain that into my boil kettle. I'll have my full boil volume of around 7 gallons, 6 to 7 gallons, and down the road, like I've said, I'll be doing 10-gallon batches, so that's going to be even more. So that's kind of what I was looking for, as well as there's no way I could lift that with 12 gallons of wort in it, and that there's no way. I think 8 gallons. I think a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds, and I'm sure wort weighs a little more than that since it's got sugar and stuff in it. And I think an empty keg weighs about 29, 30 pounds, somewhere around there, I think, from recollection. So you can do the math, and it gets kind of heavy. But anyway, I'll do my drains. I'll have that ready, and instead of having to pick that up and carry it outside to put on this, which is usually set up outside, the next thing I have done is gotten another piece of threaded rod from, sorry about that loud noise, which is this. And if you go back and look at my No More Lifting Heavy Fermenters, I think is the way I titled that video, and I'll put it down in the more info section. What I'll do, and I've got to figure out where I want to do this, I'll put this up in the ceiling joist somewhere. And what I'll do is, when it comes time to do this, I'll just take my hoist, my pulley system from in there where I have my chest freezer, and just clip it over, that threaded rod that I use in here. And I've yet to, actually I do have it somewhere here. I haven't got it rigged up yet, but all I do is take this chain with these hooks on it, and I haven't got this all figured out yet, but I will hook to the handles on each side. I'm sure that's really loud. And I guess I should have had all that ready, prepared for the video, but that'll hook to the boil kettle and to the pulley system, and then I'll raise the boil kettle up using the pulley system and set it right on the burner, and then just roll the burner right out the door on the cement. Should work really good. So changed my mind. When I was fooling with this yesterday morning, building this thing, I got it all done, and here's the finished product with the little dolly I made, and my burner with my heat shield around it, and the keg sitting on it. And like I say, that's tall enough to where you can see my carboy sitting there that I can drain off into that whenever it's done with the boil and cool down. And I built this, as I said in the video, so I could roll it outside after I do my first and second runnings into the boil kettle. But I was going to have to do that with the boil kettle sitting on the floor, and then I was going to use that hoist with that chain that I showed you to lift the boil kettle up and slide this dolly under it. And I just got to thinking, I wished my mash tun was just high enough, or higher than this, and I wouldn't even have to lift anything. So I had a few more pieces of wood laying around, and went and bought a couple more 2x4s and did this. And said to heck with it. It looks overkill, and I'm sure it is, but I can use it for other things, and made it a little big enough to where I can set stuff down beside it if I need to lay my paddle down or mash paddle or whatever. But all I did was build a little table, and as you can see, it's just high enough to drain over. I put my silicone hose on here and drain over into the boil kettle when I do my first and second runnings, and then I can just roll this thing outside. I won't even have to lift it up off the ground. So it really didn't dawn on me that I could do that. I kind of looked around here in the basement trying to think of a way to get my mash tun up higher than it was, and then when I got to thinking about it, I thought, well, it may be too high, for me to stand here and stir, but it's not. It's perfect. I'm a pretty tall guy, so I can dump my water in there with ease and stir with ease at that height. And that's not on wheels or anything, but if I want to move everything outside, I can have it all outside at some point. So there you go, my little 3-tier brew stand. Maybe one of these days I'll have a nice little setup with all of it connected, but that'll work perfect. That'll be a good little setup, I believe, to help me along. And as always, if you got any questions or comments, I just kind of done this stuff on the fly, so I haven't brewed with it like this yet, but I don't see where it'd be a problem for anything. So that's it. And like I say, keep checking my channel for the next upcoming videos that I showed you, the grain mill station and the bottle filler. So appreciate it.